So he has already some experience with these kinds of entities, and basically what we want to achieve is to issue certificates like diplomas or high school degrees or any certificates that any institution is issuing, and publishing them on Cardano, and creating an app, a mobile app and a web app, where those certificates can be verified quickly and cheaply, right? So we're aware that off-chain systems like these, exist, of course. And I mean, for example, if I present a diploma from my faculty to someone, they can question its authenticity, right? And they can go to the faculty and ask for confirmation, which is a process that takes time, that takes effort, sometimes takes money. If I lose my diploma, I have to get new one reissued, which again takes time, effort, and money. And when we have it on chain, it's there forever. It's immutable. It's unchangeable. No one can delete it. No one can mistakenly, lose it or something like that, right? So we gathered, Goran and Marin basically gathered the team around them, and there's, I think, currently around 19 of us. We have a marketing sector, a technical sector. We have a strong development team. We just had a developer call today, and basically the initial steps are starting to materialize. They have invested their own money into creating, this initial, we have a white paper out, and it's part of the proposal. We have the tokenomics set, because we will use the ACI token as a native token on Cardano and as a fuel and a payment system for this whole system. We have the tokenomics out there ready inside the proposal, and we started developing the front end of the application, the connection and the promotion of the system. We want to decentralize it, of course, as much as possible. And basically what we recognize as our users, we recognize a couple of different, let's say, entities as users. We have the issuers, so those would be the institutions. Let's say a faculty that issues, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 diplomas per year, right? So that's one user of our system. The other users would be verifiers. So that's someone who has the need to verify credentials regularly, more or less regularly. We have representatives. So these are entities, or we can call them like franchisers, let's say. So these are the entities that get full access to all of the functionality that we offer, and they are, let's say, responsible for another region. So we're doing this right now in Croatia. We will start with Croatia and maybe the region around Croatia, Balkans. But if there will be interested, and hopefully there will be interested parties in other countries and territories, we have a program for representatives where they get the whole infrastructure for free. They get introduced to the whole process, and they get a percentage of the payments from the issuers and from the verifiers. What else can I mention for now? Do you guys maybe have some questions for now? Let me find the link and share it.
Yeah, I have multiple questions.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Okay. So first, I would like to understand more your distinction into the users.
Uh-huh.
So So you said there are institutions, verifiers, and representatives.
And there are referrals. Let me open the white
So
paper.
for me, the distinction is not really clear.
Okay.
So what can you explain to me again what representatives are? So as I understood you, you said that are clients who basically want the whole package. So who want to issue stuff like credentials, right? And have the whole access on the whole system. Ah, okay.
So
yeah, okay.
we have something like this. So issuers, the main role of the issuer is to issue new certificates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like a market segment, let's say, because we don't expect like normal people like you and me, we will not be issuers. We will not issue, 100 certificates per year because we don't issue anything, right? But maybe, so we're aiming initially for issuers to be, let's say, faculties or high schools or something like that. But it can also be smaller issuers. It can be a local training center for, I don't know, Aikido. Like, I'm spitballing. So anybody who wants to issue a certificate and publish it on the chain, they are considered issuers. On the other hand, we have verifiers. So we have issuer can also be a verifier. No one is, it's not.
It doesn't have to be separated. So for example,
it doesn't have to be inclusive.
In case of a university, right?
Yes.
They would be issuer and verifier themselves, right?
Yes, they can be. They can be.
Although verifier, for example, in Germany, could be also different institutions. So for example, like if a university issues a certificate or a school, other like parts of the government can verify them as well.
Yes, but our goal is, let's say the verifier, I can be a verifier, you can be a verifier, right? Let's say that you run a small business for anything, right? You run a small business, you're a carpenter, right? And a new person comes into your shop and they apply for a job and they tell you, look, I finished carpentry school here, here's my diploma, right? And you, for any reason, you want to verify that that diploma is really, a real diploma issued by an institution and that it is credible, that it's not forged, that it's not falsified. So you will have access to a DApp. And keep in mind, verifiers will have 25 verifications per year for free, totally free of charge. So you open an app, you scan the QR code from the diploma or from somewhere that the person presents to you. You scan the QR code. We ping the chain. We ping the blockchain. We find that transaction and we display the information for you, telling you, okay, this is a credible diploma issued by this and this entity. Right? That's the role of the verifier. Okay. Now we have here referrals. Referrals will just be in the initial segment, the people who onboard more and more users to the system. They will get, this is actually a cost breakdown. They will get a percentage, a small percentage. I think it's 5%. We have it here somewhere. Hold on.
Okay, I would have some questions regarding the ACI token as well.
Okay.
But
let me find it.
Because you're now already starting to talk about that indirectly.
This is.
I mean, the percentage don't really matter right now, but
it's here. Okay, so the manager is in the beginning. It's a smart contract company, and the company will receive 65% of the cost initially. Long term, we have representatives that are, let's say other entities that want to spread the system, they get 20%. Issuers get 5% cash back for when their documents are verified, right? So when an issuer issues a document and a verifier that's like a paid verifier, so someone who does more than 25 verifications per year, when they verify the documents, they pay a fee and the issuer gets 5% of that fee. So in that way, we incentivize the issuers themselves to issue more and more documents.
Okay, what would that mean concrete? So like, how expensive would that be? And what would the 5%, for example, mean? Do you have like a calculation or something like that?
We have, right now, we decided that for now, we have decided that the issuing of a certificate, single one, will cost 0.05 ACI. And ACIs have a total cap. This is a total supply cap of 250 million, right? So market price, we don't know. This token doesn't exist yet. So if you're asking me about dollar cost, I don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But basically from that 0.05, we will distribute accordingly to the different parties involved, right? And to be clear, if we go a little bit into the technical details, in the beginning, while we're onboarding, let's say, first issuers, first users, we will be doing these calculations in a centralized database. The token will exist, and any of the users will at any point be able to withdraw the token to their own wallet, right? But for the sake of cost saving and transaction saving, all the, let's say, costs of verifications and things like that, they will not be output to the main Cardano blockchain. For the simple fact of having a min-UTO cost, it would be much more expensive to just pay the transaction fee than to verify a document or to even issue a document. So in the beginning, for an initial period, until we have, fees more stable and more lower, or we have some solution where we can batch transact or something like that, we will be doing it in a central manner.
Okay, I have so many questions, Philip. But really, okay, so first of all, yeah, really.
It's complicated, and I'm sorry if I didn't explain it correctly, but go ahead, every question.
Okay, so certain case, so or maybe it's even easy questions. So let's say I'm an institution, right? Yeah. I want to issue stuff, I have to verify stuff. Then in the onboarding process, right?
I would just say that you as institution, I don't think that, and I may be wrong now, maybe Goran would be more helpful here, but I don't see institutions having to verify stuff that often. They can, but I don't see their core business being verification. I see them being more of the issuers than verifiers.
Yeah, it would be more later, right? If the adoption goes up, right? And for example, universities have applications of other universities which issue on the same system, then the verifying would increase. But in the beginning, I would agree completely more issues. Okay, but still, they would decide, okay, we want to do it. Then they would have to buy the token, right?
Yes.
So how do you have a plan for how this whole process looks like? Because would the institutions have to go, for example, to exchange with, I don't know, US dollar or euro or whatever, and then buy the token on an exchange? Or do they do you just offer it on your website that they have to buy it there?
Initial offer will consist of 33% of total supply. That will be sold in rounds of private sale, early sale, and community sale. So these tokens, 82.5 million, will be sold for some price. We don't have the price yet. I cannot tell you the price. They will be sold to anybody who wants to buy them, right? The rest of the supply, we see we have 38% for the project. We have 14% going to the treasury. We have 15% going to team and advisors. So
will that be instantly paid out, or the 33%? That will be, that's an instant drop.
I don't know, to be honest. No, I don't. I don't think we maybe discussed it, but I forgot. I'm sorry. But no, the idea isn't that someone will just buy them and be able to sell them immediately, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. So for example, like, I mean, if there's always in the memory, there's this memory of the ICO boom, right? And so then token is dropped, spike in price, and then the dump. Right?
No,
I mean, I don't think that you're interested in that because it's a long-term project, but still, this is always a danger, like that investors have in mind. And when they see, for example, how the project team gets the tokens, that's also a hint.
yes, it is, and it's a very fair question, And I would say that definitely team and advisors, we will have some kind of token locking, right? We won't be even able to sell this as team and advisors. Also, we didn't even agree on who gets how many tokens. We don't know that yet, right? And I know that this is always a worry about this, ICO projects and things like that, but it's a fair question. So it's in no one's interest, especially in ours, that any significant sales happen immediately. It's a utility token, and we want it to be used as a utility token, because if you sell it immediately, first of all, like I said, you won't be able, and there are limits to how all the individuals here in this process will have to do KYC, right? So they will have to go through the KYC process. They will be known. They will be in a database, and these tokens will not be available, I think. And this, please don't take it 100% serious, because we either didn't discuss it or I don't remember. But there will be, I think, a token unlocking period. Maybe percentages will be slowly unlocked, or something else that just it will not be immediately available for sale. Of course, exchange listings won't be immediately available as well, right? I mean, even if the token will not be listed on the same day. It doesn't work like that. It takes time, right? But these people we consider early adopters and people who are believing in the project and who want to see it grow. Team and advisors definitely won't be able to sell all the tokens immediately, won't be able, I would say, even to access them. There will be a locking period for some time. Treasury will be completely locked until the decentralization is achieved, until we have some sort of governance, and then that governance can unlock the treasury. The project itself, this amount will be, we discussed this internally. We would like to, because all the issuers, all the users will have to have a certain amount of ACI tokens enabled to participate in the process. Let me find that here. So if you want basic functionality, and the functionalities are described here, you have to hold 1,000 tokens. If you're an enterprise like a faculty, you need to hold 50,000 tokens to be able to issue anything. And this is what it allows you. It gives you no limit users. You can have a document management system, web interface, mobile application, REST API, no limit of documents issued per year. So to be enabled to issue documents, you have to hold this amount of tokens in your wallet, right? So initially, we would probably lend out these tokens for some time to onboard new issuers, right? Just to get them together, just to make them feel comfortable with using the system, to eliminate the crypto story altogether, because institutions in Croatia, it's still very skeptical towards crypto projects or cryptocurrencies in general. So we would just like to say, okay, let's lend you out this amount of tokens, and then we will, we will see how they react. Let's lend you out for a year. You can use it, and then after a year, if you want to continue using it, you have to pay for 50,000 tokens, and that's it.
Okay, Philip, I got another question regarding all of this tokenomics stuff. So basically, and my biggest question right now would be, is what are the costs of like issuing, for example, the documents? Oh, sorry, guys, if I'm taking too much time asking, somebody else should ask.
No, Panagiotis just wrote that he has to go. Thank you for joining us, Panagiotis.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I have a question before?
Yeah, of course, sure.
Yeah, I could really have to. So about these validators, it's very difficult for me to understand how, let's say, I can be a validator. So could you completely skip that by creating, I don't know, like doublets of certificates held by the owner and the institution, so you can validate things like that?
We just talked about that today. We will, because Cardano is an open public blockchain, right? And anybody has access to any of the transactions and any of the metadata that's written in a transaction. So we plan to create a custom hash function that only we know about. Then you will only be able to validate through the application that we're using, right? In the beginning, that's how we think about it, just so to bypass that problem of someone creating their own application for validation, right? Because if we have a custom hash function, then people don't know the hash function, so they cannot create the algorithm that searches for the hash. Am I making myself clear?
Yeah, I think it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, best of luck. Got to go.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, so my question would be regarding the costs. So I'm wondering at which point this whole project becomes profitable. So I would imagine that at the beginning, when the sale is launched, right, the token price is pretty small. Do you vary the amount of tokens required to mint the assets, or the certificates on the Cardano blockchain, according on how expensive the Cardano minting, etc. is, or how is that done? Or is it a fixed amount and upfront you will pay the difference, and later on when the token appreciates in value, that will change? Or can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so our idea is in the beginning, we have, let's say, these amounts that have to be locked by issuers or verifiers or someone who wants to have access. And we hope that as the system spreads, like when it significantly spreads, we plan to have a mathematical curve that decreases these amounts, right? So let's say that right now, Blockademia Enterprise costs 50,000 tokens. So you have to have 50,000 tokens just to be able to have access to this level. And additionally, for each certificate you issue, you pay 0.05, right? So you need to have more than 50,000 because 50,000 is what you need to have for access, and then additional cost is 0.05, right? Our idea is that if we have 1, 2, 3, 5 of these institutions, the costs will be 50,000. But at some point, if we have 100 or 200, or I don't know how much, we would decrease this. We would decrease it to, let's say, 45,000. Because if we decrease it to 45,000, we enable the liquidity for that institution. They have another 5,000 tokens with the price of 0.05. That's going to be what they can issue 100,000 certificates just by holding for no cost, right? So that's how we plan to, you know, attract the new, I mean, the early adopters, the early issuers.
Yeah,
right.
But isn't it that when you mint it, you have this fixed cost, or I mean,
well,
or varying cost by the Cardano blockchain?
Yeah, we do have, so we can talk about that. So Cardano blockchain transactions. So what we plan to do is get a document, hash it with our custom hash function, and write that hash into a transaction metadata, right? So we have to first develop the custom hashing function. We have to see how long it will be, and how many of these certificates we can pack into a single transaction. But let's say, for the sake of argument here, we can pack, let's say 100, just for the sake of argument. So every 100 certificates, we will have to publish a transaction on the Cardano blockchain. That transaction will cost, but that transaction will cost minimum amount of ADA plus the transaction fee. So that's going to be, let's say, 2, 3, I would say maybe 5 ADA. I'm not sure, right? So that's the on-chain cost, right? With the current system, with the current settings, right? It can be less, it can be a little more, but that's somewhere between 2 to 5, I would say, you know, to not complicate it anymore. So that's the cost of the on-chain part. The other cost that we have is that we have to run our own database in the backend, where we track all the users, where we track all their token holding, ACI token holdings, because the transaction that 0.05 ACI, it makes no sense to do that on chain. It makes sense to do that within our own database, and it's free, at least for, you know, it will always be free in our database, but the costs of transacting ACI tokens on Cardano is much more expensive right now than it makes sense. It would be 10, 15, 20 times more expensive to send the transaction than to issue a document. So it just doesn't make sense.
So ACI is not based upon Cardano.
ACI is based on Cardano. It's just that the tracking of the ACI, we plan to make it initially in a centralized way. Like we will make a sale, and people will get their tokens into their own wallets. They will have, you know, like they have space coins now or any other tokens on Cardano, they will be able to have it on their own wallet.
Mm-hmm.
But when they want to participate, let's say I buy in the pre-sale, I buy 100,000 ACI tokens. Okay, cool. Have them in my wallet. Cool. I want to use the system. Okay. I send to the system, I send 50,000 because I'm an enterprise user. I need to have 50,000, and I send 1,000 more for the certificates, right? So now I have 51,000 in the system. In the back end, the Blockademia system will have wallets with the user funds, right? But the funds will not be transferred between these wallets because that that's expensive on Cardano currently. We will just track those balances inside our database. And the user will always be able to see in their application or their web interface how many tokens they have at any given time. And at any given time, they will make a request. Okay, I don't want to play anymore. Give me back my tokens, and we send them. This is maybe a similar mechanic how an exchange works. Let's say if you put money on Binance, whenever you trade it, they don't send it through blockchain wherever, they just keep their own ledgers internally. And when you want your money out of Binance or any other, exchange, they send you your coins.
So they have to trust you.
They do have to trust us initially, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Filip, for the lengthy answers.
Yes, and no, thank you. These questions are all good, and we are still discussing them. And please keep in mind that maybe some details or some amounts will change because we're still discussing, we're still modeling, we're still finding what makes the most sense and how and what's the best way to do it. But yes, just to come back a little bit more on the token distribution and the token sale, it's definitely in none of our interests to do any kind of a scam or a rug pull or a sale, because this is what we do, right? If Jacob, if I do a rug pull, would you ever speak to me and let alone work with me, right? I mean,
of course, Filip, I know you.
So I mean,
but somebody who doesn't know you, right?
I agree.
I mean, they look very critical, and then they think, okay, so how is the token distribution, etc., working? And it's always a kind of, for example, when I think about the DeFi projects on Cardano, right? I'm a bit more critical when I see, for example, that there is not a kind of fair token launch in a way, or that the community can participate more. If it's all more, just the founders have basically everything and they are like absolute power, and then the risk is a bit higher, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that something will happen, but if something happens, they have more power. And
No, definitely, your comments and your thoughts make perfect sense. And the issue is that it will take time and money to start this up properly, to onboard initial users, to market it, to pay the developers, to engage people. You have to create websites, you have to do social media, you have to go into everywhere. Like, people need to know your project, right? It costs money, and that will be funded from this project part, right? There will also be incentives for people. Hold on, where did I? Yeah, this will be funded from this part, right? There will also be incentives for early adopters to bring in new users, to spread the story. We didn't, sort out the details about that. But our main goal, our long-term goal would be, look, smart contract maybe doesn't, as a company, maybe doesn't even need to exist. We have a set of real smart contracts on Cardano that can do this automatically. And we have some kind of a DAO or a governance structure where token holders and the issuers and, everybody participating can have, a certain amount of say in governance, right? Initially, we have a lot more ideas. Initially, we just wanted to say, let's just establish a token, let's just onboard a couple of institutions, and let's just make sure that everything works, right? But there are a lot more things. Like, if you look at that DMS, document management system, there is a possibility that your document can be stored on chain, maybe not on Cardano, but let's say on Arweave or on IPFS or somewhere in a distributed storage. You can take a photo of your diploma and have it there. That can be another service. There can be networking services. You can have universities, like you said, working together, exchanging. There can be companies that can, ask universities for, people who finished schools. there can be a reputation system built in, because a company can issue a certificate that you work there for 6 months or a year or 5 years, and you can hold all of these certificates and build a kind of reputation for yourself.
Yeah,
Like imagine building a LinkedIn in this way, right? A new version.
that
But
would
this
that
is
would be
down the line that we don't want to really talk about it now because it's so far out that
yeah. That's something that I see problematic as well. I mean, we all kind of think about this and have this. I think most of the people who are in the Cardano ecosystem has a vision, right? That you have this. Sorry that I turned off my camera. I'm
Oh,
just
it's fine.
saving a bit bandwidth, but I'm sitting here still. And have this as a vision, right? To that there's this one standard and you have all your certificates and you build this reputation, etc., which is great. But the first starting point also for you is, right, just onboarding a few institutions, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is in Croatia, but in Germany, I imagine it to be fucking hard.
Yeah, we have a little bit of, I mean, like I said, Goran works with some of these institutions already. So let's say that we have some kind of connections, and you can approach people, you can approach them and you can tell them what it is, and they'll believe you a little bit more than someone random from the street, right? By no means this guarantees success, right? By no means, it's a government institution. You have a lot of hoops to jump through. You have a lot of meetings to attend. You have a lot of documents to sign and verify and all of this, right? And this also is another thing. Like, imagine if this, if it fails and there's like 5 faculties included. We cannot allow that. Like we would all go to jail immediately, right? So we have to do it with due diligence. We have to be careful. We have to explain it. We have to walk through it. But we have a feeling that when a couple of these institutions come in and they see that it's working and that it's working well, not only do we onboard to our system, but they know that it's running on Cardano, right? And these are government public entities, also private entities, but this, I believe this is potentially a big thing, a big step into general adoption, right? Because then you have a government entity publicly cooperating, publishing their data on an open blockchain, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing, and we're in a kind of a good position to go that way, right? It would be much more difficult if we didn't know anyone and we just came knocking on doors.
Yeah, I think that's probably kind of also a USP for you in Croatia, right? That you already know some people, that you can explain it to them. Because I was just now thinking about, so for example, IOHK also did this verification system for the government of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
How does that differ, and how do you see competition, etc., in this whole space?
Well, IOHK did implement Atala and still implementing with the government of Ethiopia. I don't still know exactly, how it is, their onboarding, and what we're offering. They're onboarding an identity solution, and we're really looking forward to Atala coming out publicly to see if we can implement Atala within our system, if there's a place for it, right? And competition per se, I really don't see it as competition. I think I would much rather see cooperation between whoever, and I wouldn't say it's competition. I would not. In the end, the data goes to Cardano again. Actually, as a matter of fact, there was a Fund 5 proposal from decree. I'll write it in chat.
Mm.
These guys are from India. I had a short meeting with them. I spoke. They had basically the same, almost exactly the same, although they didn't put the token in. They would just charge in Indian rupees. Very, very, very similar solution, right? And we're trying now to find ways how we can cooperate, right? How we can do it together, because I mean, I would much rather say, hey, look, I would much rather say to a faculty that we speak to, hey, look, the Indian guys are doing it and it's working. And I'm sure they would say, hey, look, the Croatian guys are doing it and it's working.
Yeah.
Yes, if we grow to a level of McDonald's or Coca-Cola, then yes, everybody is a competition, right? But we're just starting. And
I agree with you, Philip. I think like a lot of times I was very competitive and thinking about competition. But right now I'm more on I'm agreeing with Peter Thiel. I don't know if you know him. And he says competition is for losers and the winners are cooperators. And I think this is kind of true. I mean, you just have to have a great vision and find other people who pursue that same vision, and then you build it together. And the more you collaborate, the closer you get to achieving that vision. And maybe it's not in the original company or something that you started, but what's that matter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really try to look at it. I mean, I think it's a very bad start if we're now, yes, everybody's a competitor, and then I can tell you, no, we're better than them because of this, and there we have better developers. I don't see that as a proper way to move forward. I would love seeing Decree growing and succeeding, and why not in 3-4 years they can. I wish them, if they can cover whole Asia, great for them, right? And imagine then saying, hey, we have a partnership with Decree and let's have systems interacting somehow, or connect them together with a network, or create events together, or things like that. There are always ways to collaborate, and we're just now focusing on starting up, right?
Yeah.
I don't think, I try to not think in any way that no one is competition. I really, don't see it that way.
Cool, Philip. Thank you so much for answering all of my questions.
Thank you for asking questions. Please leave a comment, subscribe. No, but yeah.
I think you're doing a great job, Philip. I think your presentation was great and you answered all of my questions very good. And I see that you're thinking about these issues, etc. And you, as always, seem very competent.
Thank you very much. But it's not just me. Everybody's thinking about it. We've been through the white paper. This is the 5th version, and I have the 6th saved on my computer. I just don't want to spam it every day. So we're improving. We are aware that there are things to improve, and we're willing to hear how people react to it, and we're willing to do what we need to do.
And last and most important question, Philip, will you tell me in advance when the airdrop is going to happen?
But we have dates.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is okay. This is to be confirmed. This is what we are aiming to do. Between 8th of November and 5th of December, right? This is what we're aiming to do. What we're hoping to achieve. Now, this is it's complicated. We have to have a platform to sell the tokens initially, to distribute them. People have to go through KYC. There are legal issues. You have to, you just can't.
Can I even buy them as a German?
I have no idea, Jacob. I don't think we went that far, but yeah, I mean, I think so. We're gonna go to be publicly for everyone, right? We're taking advice from guys from Revuto. They have been a great success, and we know them. Actually, Vedran is one of the advisors. He is the co-founder of Revuto. We know each other. We're lucky to live close to each other, so you know, we can speak on the phone. They're helping us a lot, however they can. So I would love to tell you more. I don't know, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody will be able to, you know, buy tokens when they are available.
Cool, Filip. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
And I think I will go now to the Berlin breakout room.
Okay.